Come with me if you want to live.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Zip, don't get scared.
Hey there, guys. How are you? Welcome to the second episode of Krazy, a podcast all about movies. That's my stormtrooper. He's doing the YMCA, or is he surrendering? I'm not quite sure. How are you doing today, Crazy Jason?
Could be doing better, John. Could be doing better.
Yeah? What's going on over there? I hear some gurgling.
Yeah.
Down below in the pits.
I shouldn't have eaten that chicken at the mall.
That Chinese chicken at the mall.
That Chinese chicken. Stay away from that shit.
Well, hopefully you can make it through this podcast.
I hope so. If seem a little down, guys, it's because my palms are sweating and I might have food poisoning.
I think you'll be okay. I'm looking at your eyes right now. They look a little bit glossy, but I'm trained in these situations, and I think it's going to be okay.
Okay.
All right, so today we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the new trailer of Dunkirk, the new Nolan movie. We're going to talk about, a movie I seen this week, Suicide Squad. A lot of split criticisms on the movie. We're going to talk about a new show that you just watched.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, and then we might talk about some other random mumbo-jumbo, and then we're going to answer Q&A viewer questions all about movies, anything and everything that you guys want to know that you asked on Twitter, which the links are down below. We're going to answer that at the end of the podcast, so...
Sounds good.
All right.
Start with Dunkirk.
Let's do it. Dunkirk. Yeah. All right, so the trailer opens up. It's a Nolan movie, and Nolan, the way that he makes trailers... They always leave you asking questions, but they get you excited, they get you tingling. Both these are hard right now. Just watching the trailer again, it's a World War II.
Do you need a battery with a couple of clips?
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Two Duracell batteries, always.
Is that all you need?
Yeah.
Not a car battery?
No.
Okay.
Just D batteries. But anyway, as far as the trailer goes, kind of a teaser, to say the least. You see these British soldiers. They're on a pier, it looks like, beside the ocean. And you hear this incoming plane off in the distance. And these soldiers, they know what's going on. They think they're probably about to be slaughtered.
Right.
There's nothing they can do. And the plane, the sound gets louder and louder. And they all duck down, and you can just see the fear in their eyes. That's
like
the Dunkirk
see
trailer.
The sickness in my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for a little historical perspective, Dunkirk, early part of World War II, the Battle of France, the British forces were over there helping out the Frenchies. And anyway, the German army pushed them back to the port of Dunkirk. That's why you see all of them standing on the beach in that trailer. And the interesting thing is that Hitler did not give the order to slaughter them. So there's a little bit of confusion on why he did that, because there were hundreds of thousands of fighting men. And so what happened was Winston Churchill sent every boat at his disposal, the entire Navy, plus he called on every private boat out there, so like fishermen or yachtsmen, whoever. So I believe there were 900 vessels in total.
To rescue these soldiers waiting to be evacuated.
Yeah, to rescue the soldiers. So that's what's going on when they're on the beach. And why the Germans didn't slaughter them is that's awful to slaughter 100,000 men or whatever.
Never a nice thing. But it makes you wonder why Hitler decided to do that. It's like lambs for the slaughter. Why not just take them out? Don't have to worry about them tomorrow. But yet, so that's what I'm thinking with this trailer. Yeah. That's what I'm assuming. So the trailer's leading you to believe that these guys are about to be slaughtered.
Right, with the plane coming in, the Luftwaffe.
But our theory on this would be, when you see it in the movie, they're going to be scared shitless, and then the plane just flies over them, and they breathe a sigh of relief, like, why did that happen? And it stars Tom Hardy. Can't wait to see that. Do you think he's going to...
Cillian Murphy, right?
Cillian Murphy is also in the movie.
Yeah.
Now, do you think this is going to be a standard war epic movie, or do you think there's going to be more of a twist, kind of a psychological type thing going on with Nolan, or a lot of flashbacks here and there? Because the way Nolan tells a lot of stories, he does a lot of flashbacks. He has the timelines always have flashbacks going on to escalate the story.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's sort of written a little bit like an Inception, like a puzzle.
Yes.
In some way.
Put all the pieces together.
Because when you look at it straight on, basically the story is all these men stand on the beach and then they get rescued by a bunch of ships.
All right, so that's Dunkirk, comes out 2017, starring Tom Hardy, and as far as the Nolan movie goes, I can't wait to see it. I hope it's slightly better than Interstellar.
John.
Yes.
what have you watched this week? What's the big thing? What's the movie?
What movie have I watched this week?
Yeah.
Well, the big controversy right now is Suicide Squad. You either like it or you fucking hate it, and you sign petitions and take down websites that don't like the movie as much as you do.
I've heard the critics are split.
Is
that an understatement?
I would say so. The thing about Suicide Squad is, and the thing about movies in general now, there's no gray zones anymore. You have to fucking be the biggest fanboy and love it no matter what. No criticism. Best movie ever, A++. Or you have to hate everything about the movie, and it's the worst movie you've ever seen in your life.
I've seen so much anger and hatred on every message board, YouTube comments, Twitter. I mean, there's just so much hate going around. Go on IMDb, and you'll see the worst kind of hate.
Oh, man. Well, let me give you an example right now. On Rotten Tomatoes, a site that aggregates scores, it doesn't make up the scores, it just takes the positives and negatives and puts them together, and you get a general consensus. Okay? It has a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes.
As compared to Ghostbusters.
The Ghostbusters remake has a 73%.
That's just for some perspective.
Yeah, so there you go.
So you can always count on Rotten Tomatoes.
Absolutely. All right, so as far as the movie goes, I'll give you guys my quick thoughts. I did a dedicated movie review over on my channel, The Flick Pick. But as far as my general thoughts go, I enjoyed the movie. I gave it a positive rating. I gave it a solid B.
Okay.
Could I have went with a B-? Maybe I could have. Does the movie have issues? Absolutely. The movie has tons of issues, but what it gets right, it absolutely gets right. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, phenomenal. Steals the movie, as you could probably tell in the trailers. Jared Leto, either one. He plays a kind of a shitty Joker who's in the movie for about 9 minutes.
What kind of a Joker is he? Is he more of a Nicholson Joker, or is he more of, the Nolan movies?
He's more of a slight Heath Ledger ripoff with more of a date rapist incentive. So that's the kind of Joker. And he has a lot of shitty, trashy tattoos.
But isn't he a little bit like the Joker from the original series?
Yeah,
in a cartoony way?
No, he's kind of just the creepiest Joker yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's...
but it's just his look that doesn't quite...
It's the look that's a little bit off-putting.
Okay.
And he definitely has the Ledger voice going on, I'm just going to hurt you really, really bad,
Is he really... He's aping that voice?
He's aping that voice quite often. And the other thing is there's a few scenes in the movie that don't quite add up with the Joker. Now... I'm not going to dive into too much with spoiler territory, but this movie's biggest issue, besides the Joker only being in it for 9 minutes, the Joker should have had a more important role in the storytelling aspect of the movie. Nothing
really surprises me.
Nothing he does in this movie matters. Nothing he does matters.
Why would they do that?
Not one action he takes affects the story of this movie.
Why? The Joker, aside from Harley Quinn, isn't the Joker like the juicy that they kept teasing? And you would think, okay, they're just teasing it. I haven't seen the movie yet, by the way.
Yeah.
Yet. I plan on going to see it. But from all the trailers I watched, which were badass, the trailers made it look phenomenal.
Oh, they were like music videos.
But they kept teasing the Joker all the way till the end. And then the Joker got like his dedicated trailer.
He did.
And... I was like, okay, so they're just teasing it so that you're going to be knocked over the head with how awesome the Joker is in the movie. How he participates in the story.
He's in the movie, but he doesn't quite participate in any of the story. Nothing he does really affects the Suicide Squad, nor the story, nor the narrative of the film. The villain of the movie is an atrocious abomination against humanity, and it was some of the worst shit I've ever seen in my life, and that, for me... was what ruined this movie. If you would have made the Joker the main villain, took out who they made the villain in this movie, you would have had a good movie. And I don't think anyone would have had a complaint.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Let me give you a little backstory on the villain. Once again, no spoilers, just general thoughts. The villain has magical powers. It's very hocus-pocusy shit. And the Suicide Squad essentially they kind of copy Escape from New York. And they go through the dark city where the government's controlling them. They put even little explosives in their neck, and if they step out of line,
Right.
So the villain of the movie sits around in one location until the Suicide Squad shows up. In the meantime, they're developing some shitty magical army that the Suicide Squad fights the entire movie. These are disposable villains. They're a hodgepodge. They look like chewed up bubblegum meets, tar.
So this is the premise of the film. This is why they bring them out of jail.
Yes, that is why.
Sounds a little messy.
It's very messy, and the biggest problem with this movie, and a lot of people's complaint, is it's a very choppy movie, very, very choppy movie, and there's a lot of talk going on that there's a lot of deleted scenes, a lot of deleted footage.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
I've been reading that there are multiple cuts.
I think it's a lot of people are confirming that's a fact, because what happened was, I think the studio had a cut, and then what they did is they hired a trailer house that edits trailers to make them as quick and choppy and, basically like music videos, which is what they did for this movie, and they hired them to do a cut of this movie.
Oh, wow, because the trailers were so good.
Yeah.
Like, if you made the trailer so good, then obviously you can make the entire movie just like the trailer.
Yeah, but either way, David Ayer, the director of the film, is standing by the movie. He's not saying anything negative. He's not saying they took over the movie from him, and why would he? Because he wants a career in Hollywood still. But I feel like his voice, they took it away a little bit and kind of chopped out a lot of things that they shouldn't have. And the movie, it's a little messy. It's a little messy, but entertaining.
So you think it could be fixed, not the entire thing, but a lot could be fixed in editing.
I really do.
A better movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's even scenes where you have the Joker. Yeah. And it's just like, give me a solid scene with the Joker. But what they do is they slap it into a flashback. They chop it to shit. And you're just like, what? Why would you do that? You just took away everything good and made a choppy mess.
Oh, and I did see something, one of the negative reviews I was watching, there was like a shot of the Joker, and they were like doing some kind of 90s looking MTV effects.
Music video effects from 1993? Yeah, that you find on the first, some shitty editing program.
It's like that's the thing that they do with shit movies when there's nothing left to do.
Yes.
Why would they do that?
Just filter. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Everything that they did that relates to what you just said, it takes you out of the movie.
I wish the director had just come out and straight up said whether or not this is his cut or if there's a director's cut. I understand what you're saying, that maybe he's scared to do that.
Oh,
But if he doesn't step up to the plate, nobody's going to respect him.
It's one of those things. I think it just came down to whoever edited the movie. Definitely took it down a few notches. And, this is from the same guy who directed, has Training Day.
I like Training Day.
Has Training, but he also,
End of Watch. That was great.
Great movies. But then he also has movies like Sabotage. So anything's possible with this guy.
Right.
But what
that was the one with Schwarzenegger, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
When you shut your fucking mouth, you're 28% body fat. That's a line in the movie.
It looks like it was shot on a mini DV camera.
It really does. It looks like a movie that should have came out in 2002 with a $3 million budget.
Yeah.
But anyway, a few things I wanted to talk about real quick before we move on. There's a lot of rumors flying around with these deleted scenes that they took out of Suicide Squad. And it would only make sense because the movie does feel choppy. There's things that happen, and you're like, why did you even show me that? There's no build-up. There's no resolution. It's just there. But there's one thing that they took out that I wanted to see, and this is just a rumor at this point, but there's everyone in this movie, there's kind of basically they want to get the point across with flashbacks. The reason everyone's in jail is because Batman is the one who arrested them.
Okay.
So you have the character of Killer Croc, and there's no backstory with him, really. I guess that's one thing that...
be.
Killer Croc, man. You got to see why the big reptile guy got...
Especially for the non-book readers.
Yeah.
You need some backstory.
Why is there a giant fucking lizard in this movie?
Yeah,
we don't know.
No explanation.
So anyway, I guess one of the things they cut out was actually showing Batman taking down Killer Croc. And I just would like to see that. I'm a fan of the Batman animated TV show from the 90s. I love Killer Croc. Give me some of that.
That leads me to my other question. How much of a role did Batman play in this movie?
Not enough.
How long was he in?
More Batman, please. He was probably in the movie for a total of 3.5 minutes.
3.5 minutes. Wow. Did Ben Affleck even show up, or did they just use a stunt double?
Well, I'm pretty sure every time he was in the suit, it was probably about 95% a stuntman.
Yeah.
But if you guys stay during the credits, you will get an after-credits scene, and you might see some Affleck in there.
Okay, that's a little bit disappointing, no?
I didn't expect more.
Yeah.
But what I got, I was happy with.
Well, I guess, I can see that. If the movie had been edited better and you'd had the Joker play a more integral role in the film, then the little bit of Batman would have just been like a cherry on top.
Exactly. Yeah. It was disappointing. Lots of potential, but I still once again, what they got right, and when they failed, well, they failed miserably.
Right.
So
bottom line, what was the best part of the movie? If for somebody to go watch it.
Harley Quinn, and surprisingly, Will Smith as Deadshot. You gave a shit about Will Smith as Deadshot.
Wow.
He actually toned it down, and he just played the character rather than playing, Jaden Smith's father.
Or playing himself.
Yeah.
Just being Will Smithy all the time?
No, he toned down the Will Smithy, man. You could tell. So.
Well, sounds good. There's a little bit of a Harley Quinn origin going on.
Oh,
there.
definitely. This movie, I would say, is probably dedicated to explaining the origin of Harley Quinn. Along the way, you get the Joker. So really, it's really a Harley Quinn origin movie with a little bit of Suicide Squad fighting meaningless villains out in the street.
Okay, so bottom line, it sounds like a good summer, dog days of summer popcorn movie.
Yeah, here's my thing. A lot of people hate this movie right now.
Yeah.
And the bandwagon is you got to hate a DC movie, because you got Batman v Superman.
That's what I've seen, yeah.
And and the thing is, as far as DC goes, they keep making the same mistakes over and over, and it's just like, just stop, just fix it.
Here's what I've heard.
Okay.
And I'm stealing this from what I've read, obviously, online.
Sure.
But what they're essentially doing is trying to reverse engineer what Marvel did by slowly building this franchise where you have early films like Iron Man and the Hulk, and then you eventually get to Captain America, so that by the time they build to the Avengers, you have this, you can't, you're just quivering, waiting for this big badass movie.
Yeah.
And DC is trying to catch up, and that's why Justice League is coming out so quickly. So do you think that that's the case that's going on, or do you think they should have made more dedicated movies before they put the Justice League?
As far as the Justice League goes, I think they blew their load a little quick with Batman v Superman
or Suicide Squad, where they should they made some more dedicated?
No, I think what they did with Suicide Squad was great. I think you didn't need a dedicated movie for everyone's origin story. The flashbacks for me, they worked. I got what I needed from these. They're mostly B-rate villains. Captain Boomerang. I don't think anyone wanted to see the dedicated Captain Boomerang movie, and if you did, well, good for you, but I certainly did not want to see that. And I think the way they gave the flashbacks and the origin stories of every character, it worked. But the Joker, they kind of just said, no one cares. Let's just skim over that.
So this whole thing where people are saying that DC is trying to skip a bunch of steps to make something like the Avengers, it would have been null and void and bullshit had, say, for instance, Suicide Squad been an A+ movie.
Oh yeah, or Batman v Superman would have been an A+ movie. No one would give a shit about that. You can do these. You can set up these characters within these movies
as long as it turns out good.
Yeah, as long as it turns out good. And it's like sometimes you feel like they have it right there in their hands, and they have it. They're about to hold it up and embrace it and let it shine. But then at the last second, they fumble it, it falls and fucking shatters into a million pieces. Right at the last second, every time.
I personally think there's no excuse when you're spending $200 million for a movie and the marketing.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. X-Men. Just look at some of them. Look at Spider-Man. Look at X-Men. Look at these comic book movies, origin films that worked. Batman Begins. Yeah. That actually worked at telling you who this person or these people are, and then telling a good story. I don't think there's any excuse. I'm sorry.
There's no excuse. I don't know how they didn't. What happens is they have these screenings for these films before they're released.
Yeah.
And they get audience feedback. I don't know what the fuck audience watched this final version and said, that's as good as it can be. Don't re-edit anything. I don't think they did that. And had they done that and went back in and re-edited this film, you would have had a better movie. Easily. The editing was the problem. You fix that, had a better movie.
Well, here's to hoping that there will be either a director's cut or multiple versions of the movie on Blu-ray.
And even you saying that pisses me off.
That they would have to do that?
Because they're going to release the better version on Blu-ray, and it might only have 5 or 10 extra minutes of footage, but it's going to make for a better movie, and it begs the question, why the fuck didn't you just do that in the first place?
And then it's going to force you to upgrade to 4K.
Absolutely, and I'm going to buy that Blu-ray day one. So anyway, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What new movies or TV shows have you watched lately?
I bet you don't know my answer.
Well, I bet I don't either. What is it?
No, I watched Stranger Things on Netflix. I didn't binge it. I watched it over the course of a few nights. And there's a lot of buzz around Stranger Things right now. And I got to say, it does live up to the hype. I mean, it's just... basically, the story is you have these... it starts with these 4 kids, and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And that's a very 80s kind of way to start something like that. And speaking of the 80s, this is very much going for the nostalgia aspect. It's set in 1983 in Indiana, by the way.
Wow, my old stomping ground, huh?
Got to be proud of that, right?
Yeah, I am. Now, let me ask you this. I haven't watched it yet.
But it was shot in Georgia, where you also lived.
I did. I lived in Georgia. There's something going on here. There's too many connections.
Yeah.
I never played Dungeons and Dragons, though, so that's where it's going to have to falter. But I haven't watched the show yet. About every day, I get about 500 people telling me I should. And here's my thing, before we really dive into the show. I'm savoring the flavor because I know it's going to be good, but I just want to savor it to where I can really enjoy it.
Also, no one wants to get overhyped.
No.
So, in your case, you might actually want to wait
a little bit longer.
Let
it die down.
To die down a little bit, before you go in there. So you've got these 4 kids, and then one of the kids is biking on his way home, and he goes missing.
Okay.
And I don't want to give a lot of things away, but then there's, the mom, who's played by Winona Ryder, who deserves an Emmy for her role. She was fantastic. And she absolutely believes that her son is still alive. And as you can see from the trailers, there's some mystical things going on, as you would say, where she sort of communicates to her son. It's like an alternate universe. There's another reality. Kind of reminds me of like The Dark Side, that anthology series from the 80s. Speaking of that, there are so many references to so many things.
Like 80s films?
80s films like The Thing, Evil Dead.
Really?
And then it has the feel of a lot of Stephen King novels from that time period.
Does it involve aliens?
It's more of a monster thing.
Okay, I like
alien.
That's good.
And it involves a young girl who has telekinesis, mind powers. She can move objects. And
it's just from the few clips and trailers I've seen, it's very Spielberg-esque.
Yes.
I like that. I love that, actually. Does it feel like E.T. meets Close Encounters or maybe E.T. meets Stand By Me?
It's all of that.
Really?
There's so many things thrown into the mix, and yet it all works because they're not concentrating on trying to give a feel of an Amblin film, but it has that, I don't know if I would call it a trope, where you have the kids on their bikes, and you have this nefarious covert government operation going on.
There's some Area 51 type things going on.
Right.
Okay.
And you have where you saw in a lot of 80s movies where you have the kids, and then you have the teenagers, the high school kids, and then you have the adults.
Oh.
And so it's the stories are working on those 3 levels.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So they're all involved in the storytelling, and all of the characters are really good. The acting across the board is excellent.
Is there a Corey Feldman type character?
There's a
kind of like the little badass. The little badass has a squirt gun.
Well, there's this character. His name is Toothless.
Yeah.
Because his top teeth haven't grown in yet.
Yeah.
And he's pretty funny. At first, you kind of think that he might be annoying, but just give him a chance. And he kind of reminds me of that quirky. He plays that quirky, funny character.
Okay.
From the 80s. But the bottom line for me was that there have been a lot of films that have tried to capture the feel of an 80s movie. and they've mostly failed because they're concentrating on the nostalgia instead of the story. What this series did well was it had the production design was amazing. There were so many things you'll see in there, like telephones or carpet or whatever, and you're like, I remember that. I remember that crappy shit. And but they're concentrating on telling the story. That's the most important thing. They're not concentrating on we got to push this nostalgia down everybody. It's there, but here's what I figured out when I thought about it afterwards.
Okay.
What has been lacking, and what the people are trying to recapture is this sense of imagination and wonder at things that are unknown, like the mysteries of science. Those are the things that are missing, I think, in large part from movies today that were in a lot of 80s movies. Because what happened was when the 90s came around, we got cynical and irony, and you couldn't...
And explosions.
Well, yes, but everything started to become self-aware.
Yes.
You couldn't have that wide-eyed, childlike wonder anymore without irony or cynicism.
The adventure was gone.
Yes.
That's my thing. The 80s movies, there's always a sense of adventure. Maybe the destination wasn't always the best thing, but it was never about the destination. It was about the adventure of getting to it.
Well, then you'll like it because
it
is about the adventure of getting.
But speaking of destinations, once the climax hits of this series and the final episode, you get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you let down? Are you happy? Are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied. It was played a little straight, and if you watch it, you know what I mean. There weren't a lot of twists and turns in there were twists and turns, but they weren't like big, like Shamalama type twists and turns.
Was it a logical explanation?
Well, I mean, you're dealing with a monster.
Okay.
Or monsters.
Okay.
And you're dealing with telekinesis. So.
Do they set it up for another series?
But it's believable. I mean, you said, again, like an 80s movie, there's a lot of imagination and things that you can just, you're able to suspend disbelief, and it doesn't have to have irony and self-awareness about it.
Do they set it up for another season?
What they do is they pepper a couple of little things right at the end that could allow for a second season. What I would like to see, though, because the opening, have you even seen the opening title sequence?
I've seen that. I have seen that.
It reminds me of an anthology series like Tales from the Dark Side. What they were going for with the title sequence is covers of Stephen King books from the 80s.
Yeah.
And so you see a little bit of that, and then it makes me think of an anthology series. I would kind of like I'd like to see them go True Detective on it.
So set
and offer us
same universe, but another telling of something else. Yeah.
Yeah, like a different. It's got a great title, Stranger Things, and you could just do a totally different story.
I think that's what they will do. That'd be great. That's what I want to see. And just hopefully the second season of this is not as much shit as the second season of True Detective.
Oh my God. I didn't even finish. And I watched True Detective Season 2 faithfully, and then the next to the last episode, I just said, fuck it. I didn't even finish it.
I'm done.
That's how bad it was that I didn't even finish it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother 8 hours of discussion.
Yeah. Time is a flat circle.
Yeah. Alrighty, so let's go to the next thing. I have one more thing I wanted to talk about. Speaking of movies I watched this week. And it's not the first time I've watched this movie, but I randomly came across it, and I showed it to my lady friend, Brittany. She wanted to watch a comedy, and my favorite type of comedy are those weird, dark comedies.
Yeah.
So I watched World's Greatest Dad, starring Robin Williams, 2009.
How did she enjoy that comedy?
She liked it.
But she wasn't expecting it.
She wasn't expecting it, and I knew she wasn't expecting it. She was expecting maybe something along the lines of Dumb and Dumber, some, Robin Williams movie that's like where he drove that RV around with his stupid fucking family. I don't know.
The poster looks like RV or some other dumb comedy movie that he was in and around that time, but it couldn't be further from
a genre of like 9-year-old children. But you get into this movie, it's about his son, who's just the most unlikable person on the planet.
That redheaded.
Yeah. And then it deals with suicide. It gets a little bit dark, but there's a lot of comedy aspects going on. And it's one of those movies that not a lot of people have seen, not a lot of people talk about, but I feel like you should definitely check it out at least once.
An underrated gem. Highly recommended. Directed by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. 1980s comedian.
Yeah. I won't even attempt to do his voice.
Whatever the fuck that was as close as I'm going to get. But I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, I wanted to talk about a few things. It's probably one of Robin Williams' better roles, and probably towards the end of his career. And it's almost I don't want to get too dark, but it's kind of ironic, some of the themes that this movie deals with, seeing how Robin Williams kind of ended off.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more sad to watch, knowing how Robin Williams died.
I almost feel like, and I'm not sure who has writing credits on this movie, but it feels like Robin Williams might have had a heavy hand in some of the ideas that went into this movie.
Like, listen, Bobcat, I've been having a few thoughts about something I'd like to do soon, and we don't want to get that dark.
No, we don't want to get that dark. But just some of the messages, the main message I liked, he says, the worst thing in life isn't being alone, it's being surrounded by people who make you feel alone.
That's a really great line, because, I mean, don't we all feel like that sometimes?
Yeah.
You're surrounded by people, but you're that's worse than actually being physically alone.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on it. So anyway, guys, if you haven't seen World's Greatest Dad, definitely check it out. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. Give it a watch. It's a good time. All right. So with that said,
yes,
I think it's time.
Drum roll, please. King.
It's Q&A. Ask anything and everything, and we're going to answer some Twitter follower questions right now. We got some good ones here. So, without further ado, the first one up is, what is your worst movie-going experience ever?
That's a tough question. I'm just going to say Barbed Wire. Whatever that movie from the 90s with, what's her face? Was it Pamela Anderson?
They should have just gave her a few million more dollars to make a softcore porn.
It was so bad, and my memory of it is so hazy because it was so long ago. But I just remember walking right the fuck out of that movie.
Just 1995 junk.
And I never walk out. That's not true. I rarely walk out of a movie. But I flat out walked out of that movie. And I think that I threw my cup at the screen. It didn't quite make it, but it hit
right before.
It didn't get the screen, but it hit the floor. So I kind of felt like I made my statement.
You did. And the funny thing about that is, I worked at a movie theater once as an usher. Yeah. So I would have been the poor sap cleaning up that cup of sticky soda off the floor in that shitty movie.
I apologize to you.
Look me in my eyes when you say that.
No. What I want to ask you is, what would you have done if you had caught me doing that?
Oh man!
You would have lost your job.
Yeah.
And I would have been banned.
I would have taken my broom and turned you into a popsicle. That's what I would have done. But all right. So Barbed Wire is the worst movie theater experience you can remember.
I think so. At this point,
considering
juncture. That I am suffering from food poisoning.
Food poisoning is better than barbed wire. Would you stand by that statement?
I'm going to be honest. I'd rather sit through an entire viewing 3 times over a barbed wire than feel what I'm feeling right now.
Oh, man. That says something. All right. Well, as far as mine goes, I'm going to give you the setup, all right? It was the mid-2000s, okay. High school kid, and we went to go see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which I think is a good remake.
It's pretty good.
I like it. Jessica Biel in that little tank top, always just drippy and wet during the whole movie. I love it.
And what's his name from Full Metal Jacket?
Oh, Arlie Ermy.
Arlie Ermy. Just the...
Suck a go ball through a garden hose. Peter Puffer. Anyway.
What does he say? Poke out your eyeballs and skull fuck you. So many great lines in the first 30 minutes of that movie.
There really is. The first 30 minutes of that movie are phenomenal. Then what you do...
It's just straight up comedy.
You just take the movie out and just say, oh, that was the movie. That was what Full Metal Jacket was. The first 30 minutes, the boot camp scene.
I don't want to get into it, but I've come to enjoy the entire movie at this point.
Not me.
But it is quite a split thing. I mean, it's so jarring how the first part is just this phenomenal, hilarious, hardcore thing about going through boot camp, and then it goes into the war, and at the end it's a real kind of a tear-jerking scene.
It really is,
if you haven't seen it. But
the entire movie should have been the boot camp thing.
I agree.
Okay.
That would have been great.
So anyway, Texas Chainsaw Massacre went into the theater, and what I do with movies such as this, I can't see a horror film during the daytime. So you go to the nighttime showing, and you try to go to the latest showing that you can to avoid the annoying, loudmouth, stupid teenagers that have phones. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
But gurgling up from my gurgling stomach to my delusional brain.
Yes.
Saying horror movie late at night, I just realized what my true worst movie experience was. I went to the theater to see House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, man.
Full of Rob Zombie fanboys.
Oh.
No offense. And I like Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. I watch those.
I don't.
And I don't just hate Rob Zombie, so don't take this the wrong way. But when you have a guy sitting right behind me and I can hear his whisperings and actually feel his hot breath on the back of my neck, and he keeps talking about, what an awesome camera angle. You know,
he was saying that.
Yeah. And it was horrible. It was packed, and it was just nothing but zombie fanboys, and man,
just oozing secretions.
If I had even given off the vibe that I didn't like the movie, I would have been lynched.
They would have murdered you.
Yeah.
They would have soiled you.
That was horrible.
Just I wasn't there, but I can smell it. I can smell it, man.
There was a certain kind of smell.
Like a McDonald's dumpster with a dead body in it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Wow, I don't know if I can compare, man. Well, I'm going to tell you the story now.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but
it's okay. I
jogged it.
I'm glad we got. See, it was like a very psychological thing. We had to dig in there and fish it out. Yeah. Now we feel good.
We need to dig deep.
Not right now. I don't want to dig deep. I'm scared. Anyway, so I walk into the theater. It's like the 11 o'clock showing. And, everything's good. I always do this. I look at my surroundings, and I'm like, thank God. If there's some fucking annoying piece of trash beside me, what I do is I will try to move seats. And if there's somebody so annoying in that theater, I will go to the next closest showtime just to avoid the situation. That's what I do. So showtime starts. I look around. We're good, man. We're good. 10 minutes into the movie. It's always 10 minutes into the movie.
When the assholes walk in.
The assholes, because they can't get there on time. How could they?
No, why would they? They don't even care.
They don't even give a fuck. So it's a family. Let me describe the family. The father's wearing a white beater or a wife beater.
Of course.
Either way, I'm sure he beat his wife as well because she looked like she was bruised. Oof. And she's carrying a little baby to the 1050 showing of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, probably a two-year-old child.
You know how angry that makes me?
Oh, I wanted to, and it's not the baby's fault. It's the parents, okay? So if this baby cries, I can't get mad at the baby. The parents are the ones that need to be butchered for their crimes.
I agree.
But it gets worse. Let me describe the wife. Bruised from head to toe. I don't know what she was doing. I don't know what. I'm sure it didn't cost much. And she's not wearing fucking shoes.
No flip-flops or anything?
No flip-flops. Shoeless. Shoeless to the 1050 showing of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And throughout the movie, the baby whimpers a few times. The baby was the best thing that came in that door. The baby was fine. It was the fucking parents. The drunk father, wearing the tank top, kept mumbling about something. I don't know. Probably telling his wife how much he wanted to beat her after the movie. And, they just kept talking and talking. The baby did whimper a few times, but I'm sure it's only because it hated its parents so much.
And then the dad stuffed his dirty sock in the baby's mouth.
If he was even wearing fucking socks, that would have been... So anyway, that was the worst theater experience I had. Something about it, man. It was very off-putting.
What do they come down from the hills? I don't know. Backwoods family
mutated mutants coming. I don't know what it is. Just I have the worst luck with movie theater experiences. I'll tell you that.
At the same time, didn't it add a little bit to the flavor of the film because it was so dark and gritty?
No, none, absolutely none.
Always try to look on the bright side.
I couldn't find it this time. All right, so let's go to the next question here. What is your favorite movie genre?
You want me to tackle that first?
You want me to go first, or do you want to go first? Which one do you want to? It's up to you.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors. Fuck. Well, scissors wins. All right, so
I go first, or
you go first.
I don't even know what we were doing that for. I don't know if we were doing that for me to go first or for me to be able to kick back and let you go.
Either one. You want to kick back? I'll go.
Go.
All right, so that pretty much voids our little competition right there.
Oh, no, but that actually means that I don't have to pay you for the Witch Blu-ray.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
All right, so as far as favorite movie genres go, it's easy to say action, adventure. It's easy to say, whatever. But I'm going to go with one that always stands out, and these are the types of movies that always just kind of resonate with me. Dark comedies. Some of my favorite movies of all time, you have American Psycho, you have Nightcrawler, and these characters are characters that I relate to. They're both sociopaths. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I am. Maybe I think 20% sociopath is fair.
I think full on, but high functioning.
High functioning.
Kind of like the new Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
He refers to himself as a high functioning sociopath.
Okay, I'll go with that.
So can we make a T-shirt with you, your face that says high functioning sociopath?
We can do that, but either way,
I get the proceeds.
No,
Okay.
Absolutely not. So, like I said, American Psycho, you have Nightcrawler, I would say dark comedies, I like the tone, and something about dark comedy, that's what I laugh at. Slapstick comedy, it doesn't really do much for me, but that dark, weird, menacing comedy that only a certain select people can laugh at, I fucking love it, man. I'll tell you, one of the best dark comedies I've seen in the last 10 years, it stars Nicolas Cage. Let me give you a quick backstory on it. Can you guess what movie it is?
Is it Lord of War or?
It is not Lord of War. It is Bad Lieutenant, Protocol of New
love
Orleans.
that movie.
Give me the kibble.
Holy shit, I love that.
I love it
Give
more.
me the kibble.
Oh, man. I remember seeing that in an art house theater when it came out. And there's a bunch of older people there.
Yeah.
And some of the scenes I was laughing hysterically at. I was dripping sweat. I was laughing so much. These old people were looking at me like I was a fucking lunatic. And because they couldn't understand the comedy.
Right.
When he takes an old woman's oxygen tube and bends it to get the answers he wants.
I love that.
Comedy gold.
They
comedy
were bitches, man. That old woman was a bitch. It was such a thing that you would do.
It really was, man. Or the fucking part where he's always looking at an iguana, or the whole movie's comedy gold. So I'll let you go.
That is an underrated gem. In my collection. I love it, and all the other ones you were talking about. Nightcrawler is my favorite movie of whatever year it came out.
Last 2014, I believe, 2015.
Whatever year it came out, favorite movie of the year.
So, what is your favorite genre?
Well, I kind of wanted to talk. All right, Bad Lieutenant.
Okay.
Do you like the original with Harvey Keitel?
I've seen it once, but I honestly think the superior version, and only because Nick Cage is in the movie, no one else could have done what Nick Cage does in this movie. I think the Nick Cage version is superior.
I go back and forth on that. It's like this. It's
teeter-tottering.
We could get a lot of hate for the original.
It's not.
But the original has Harvey Keitel with the screaming voice, and calling Jesus Christ a rat fuck. You're a rat fuck. Yeah. He's got a lot of great lines in that movie, and
come back here and look at your boyfriend. Look what I'm doing to your girlfriend. Look what I'm doing. What's the matter? You didn't go to enough school plays.
Jesus Christ! I don't know if I can do that good of a Keitel to come back for you, but maybe another day.
It's getting too weird. What's your favorite movie genre? We'll save the Nick Cage shit for another podcast.
Okay, my favorite genre would have to be sci-fi. Let's face it. I mean, I've been a Star Trek fan since the age of 5. I love Star Trek, but I love all kinds of sci-fi. I love the Alien franchise. I also love RoboCop. I love sci-fi action movies.
Sci-fi, yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's T2. Is there any
Murphy.
greater sci-fi plus action movie than T2?
In my opinion, no. But another James Cameron movie that might be in the same level is Aliens 2.
Yeah, Aliens was a fantastic movie. I mean, James Cameron was knocking them out. I mean, The Abyss.
Oh, man.
Loved that. I loved the movie they didn't even put out on Blu-ray. They haven't put The Abyss on Blu-ray yet.
I don't believe so, nor have or True Lies, speaking
True
of
Lies
James Cameron. But
was a great action movie. So we're seeing that in the theater. Blew my
So
noodle.
what would you say is your number one sci-fi movie of all time?
Oh, that's too hard to say.
Give me. What's the one that you always go back and you can rewatch over and over?
Well, I love 2001. I love Star Trek, the motion picture, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, Star Trek First Contact. I love the first 30 minutes of Prometheus.
We both love the first 30 minutes of Prometheus. What a great concept. What an interesting thing until finally they just it just goes to shit.
Yeah. Well, we both wanted something that something akin to like Interstellar with Prometheus.
We wanted it to go deeper. We wanted
Yeah.
to understand the civilization of,
Yes.
of the engineers. We wanted to see their home planet. We wanted to see what they were all about. And instead,
We got a hybrid.
what we
movie.
get is at the end of the fucking movie, you have this being, this almost godlike figure that's hinted at creating us from the black goo. And what does it do? It looks at a robot named David and just rips his fucking head off.
David's just smiling up at him, smiling as he just snaps his head off. I expected communication, man. I wanted a conversation, and they didn't give that to us.
No, they turned it into they had a good idea, and they said, you know what, we gotta please another audience of people. Let's just turn it into a scary movie.
That's exactly right. But there's a 3.5 hour behind the scenes feature that goes through the whole process with Ridley Scott, and if you watch that on the Blu-ray or the DVD or whatever, you really get the sense he really was trying to go for something grandiose.
And the studio said, we can't do that. We got to cater to the hardcore Alien fan base.
Right.
So let's throw in some fucking face huggers and a xenomorph at the end.
I can tell you this. The original Alien movies is one of my go-to movies for when I'm sick.
Really?
Like the way I'm feeling right now,
You want to go watch Alien?
I go snuggle up in the bed, get under the covers, turn the air down to 65 degrees, and pop in Alien.
Really?
Yeah.
Just looking at Ridley
Like
and
something dark and
Yeah.
in space, for when I'm feeling under the weather.
something with Bill Paxton.
We're all going to die, man. What are we going to do now? Game over. Game over, man.
Oh man, Bill Paxton. He just never gets old.
All right. So I just wanted to throw out there, besides sci-fi, I love thrillers and dark psychological dramas, like cheesy 90s thrillers like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle and Malice and Shattered, movies like that. And I also like just like dramas that are set in kind of a small rural setting.
I know exactly what you like. You like Boys Don't Cry.
I do. I love Boys Don't Cry.
You love those small little trashy towns.
Yes. Trailer parks.
Yes, and I get it. I like
Yeah.
urban culture films, man.
Yeah.
I like Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood is a movie I
Menace
watched.
to Society.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's so different than what's entertaining about it is it's maybe the opposite of the way you were raised or grew up, and it's intriguing because you just want to understand it.
It takes you into a totally different environment.
It does.
And the ones that are done well, like Boys in the Hood, immerses you into that environment so that, the same thing with Boys Don't Cry. I just love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The lighting, the film, the way it's filmed. And I also really like Winter's Bone,
Really.
Jennifer Lawrence. So, is that a long-winded answer to that question?
It was good. All right, so let's move on here.
All right.
What's the next question? Well, I'll
You have the questions. I don't think I have.
he has no questions. All right, so the next question we have here is, what do you think of the Man of Steel 2 sequel in development?
What do I think about it?
What do you think about that?
Well, I hope it's better than the first one. I hope I didn't just get a lot of hate for that.
Well, I think you're. I think once again, another DC movie where you either like it or you hate it.
It wasn't like that for me, though. I liked it, but it just wasn't everything that I hoped it was going to be.
Yeah, and it was not everything I hoped it would be either, but for some reason, I always liked it. I thought it was the most interesting story or version of Superman I've seen on the big screen.
I thought it was a lot better than Superman Returns.
Oh, well, at least
that not exist
at
in
least,
this
at least
dojo?
this tried to do something different.
Yeah.
I really liked Man of Steel, and as far as a Man of Steel 2 sequel, I'm looking forward to it because it's a movie that came out in 2013. It's long overdue, and the thing is, maybe what they're going to do with this is another movie to kind of use to help create the DC universe. Right. Because along the way, they're going to help. Batman's probably going to be in this movie. There's
in Man of Steel 2?
Oh yeah, they're gonna use this movie as a setup for other movies.
Okay.
They're not just gonna dedicate it to Superman. They can't do that.
I kind of wish they would though. Just
it would be nice, right?
Tell a different story.
It would be nice, but there's no way they're going to. And if they do, they might do that. But you just know there's gonna be some little subplot going on with some other DC hero along the way.
Yeah.
I'm curious where they go with it because. If you look back and you read earlier reports of Batman v Superman, originally that was supposed to be the Man of Steel 2 sequel. And you can see a lot of the storylines in Batman v Superman. You can tell that they had all these ideas for the Man of 2 sequel.
Right.
But they kind of just had to throw Batman in there and switch it all up. So maybe, I don't even know what they're going to do with this. I mean...
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting a little confused in my mind because you have Man of Steel and then you go directly to Batman v Superman. How is it going to be? Why are you making Man of Steel 2? Why aren't you making a continuation of Batman v Superman?
Something along those lines. Yeah. Well, the thing is, spoiler alert, but I don't care. If you wanted to see the movie, you should have already done it. In Batman v Superman, Superman at the end dies, but they don't even stick to it because they have to show the coffin at the end, and then they show some dirt rise up off of it. So They can't. They couldn't just go for it. They had to. They blew their load and then they cleaned up too early. That's a bad example, but I'm going to stick with it.
They're too scared. It's not like the '90s where they could actually kill Superman
and just let him die.
Dead.
Let him die. No, within 10 minutes later, he's there's a hint that he's already back alive. So. I don't know. That's I'm looking forward to it. I hope they do something a little bit different, and I hope DC just kind of they try something a little bit different. Just
you hope they do something.
Stop letting every market group, research group tell you how to edit your movies. Okay.
I've got a question came in for you, John.
Oh, what's the question?
If you could touch any part of Christian Bale's body for 12 seconds, what would you touch?
Left nipple. All right. The last question.
Under or over the bat suit with the little nipple thing?
Why not both?
Yikes.
That's what a weird.
That was a little bit too.
That was weird.
Yeah,
but I feel like I answered.
Okay,
way too
but
quick.
that question, just so we
can I? No, actually, I want to hold. Okay, he's gonna wear. Okay, in all honesty,
Sam the Man. That's who asked this question.
Well, Sam the Man. Here's what I'd really do. I want to. He's wearing the bat suit, and I put both hands on the bat ears, and I just squeeze them really hard.
I just want to steal his utility belt and run away. I
just
hope that he doesn't catch me.
Oh, he's going to catch you, man. All right, so the last question of the day is... Are you ready for this?
Right.
Are you ready?
I'm scared.
What is your favorite coming-to-age movie?
Well,
I
have a feeling that we're going to be sharing the same movie on this
Let's both answer it on the count of three.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Stand by Me. 1986 at its finest.
Yes. Directed by Rob Reiner. You have got Will Wheaton. You've got Corey Feldman. You have got pre-zombie
Gordy's hermaphrodite.
And you have Jerry O'Connell, who was fat in the movie and then grew up to be kind of a lanky dude.
Studly man. But as far as coming to age, this movie, I don't know what you would do to even tweak it to make it better. This is a movie, I think, if you're here's a movie that you can appreciate as a kid. You can watch and be entertained. Oh, these young kids are on this adventure to find a dead body. We've all wanted to do that, walk down the train tracks with our best friends looking for a dead body.
Oh, by the way, there's a little bit of in Stranger Things.
Yeah. A little bit of a Stand By Me. Is there a reference?
There's a little bit of a reference to Stand By Me.
Oh, wow. I like it.
Just let me say, they're going to be walking down some tracks.
Oh, I thought there was going to be one of the fat kids looking for pennies under his porch. Now I'm let down. And then it's also one of those movies that you appreciate even more when you get older, and it makes you feel old and lonely. I'll tell you that.
You feel like you're sitting in that car in the field, like what's his face?
I've been there. Dreyfuss,
You've
Richard
told me
Dreyfuss.
before that you just pull over on the side of the road.
Yeah, and what I do is I do that, and I contemplate looking outside of the window. And then what happens is I go home to my 1986 computer, and I type in, I never had friends like the ones I had when I was 12 years old. Jesus, does anyone?
And then the camera just stays right there, and you go out of frame, and you see your kids playing outside.
With towels, and I go out there and start slapping them with the towels. Yeah, just beating them with towels.
Beating them about the head.
Yeah. But, yeah, in all seriousness, what do you think about Stand By Me?
I love Stand By Me. I mean, pretty much everything you said. I'm going to throw out a couple of other films real quick.
Okay.
That are also my favorite coming of age movies. One would be Lucas, which I think is one of the finest teen dramas.
Young Charlie Sheen.
Young Charlie Sheen, young
Corey
Corey Haim is the titular
Ryder.
Winona Ryder's first movie.
Yeah.
She was 15 years old. And also another film, Dead Poets Society. I love that movie. It's a Peter Weir film. I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves. I don't think Robin Williams' performance doesn't get the respect it deserves. There's some controversy about the movie. I don't want to go into detail because we're sort of running out of time.
Yeah, well, I just remember the thing about that movie is they played it on HBO every 7 minutes back in the 90s. That's how I discovered it. Yeah, no, it didn't kill it for me. That's how I was introduced to probably 90% of the movies that I know of nowadays.
I would have loved that because that's a movie. That's another one of those movies that I go back to. Which that's a whole nother podcast. We need to talk about those movies that top shelf movies that go-to movies.
One of my go-tos is definitely Stand By Me. When I'm feeling down or just weird in life, that's the movie I watch and it just evens me out. Stand By Me.
It's Dead Poets Society for me.
Really?
But again, same thing, coming of age. And if I had to say my favorite, it would be Stand By Me.
It has to be. I mean, so, I'm curious what you guys think of the best coming to age movie. And if you guys are watching on YouTube or if you guys want to tweet at us, hashtag Flickrazy, let us know what your favorite coming to age movie is. I think we both concur. Stand By Me's by far the best. You just can't top it.
No,
you just can't top it.
Yeah,
it is. Alrighty, guys. So I think that's going to cover it for this podcast. And as usual, you guys can leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. And there's a few things I wanted to quickly mention, a few updates about the podcast.
First of all, are you proud of me? Because I made it through without puking all over the place.
He didn't puke or shit himself, so I am proud.
There's this funny feeling in the center of my. You know what I'm talking about?
That's because you're about to have an aneurysm.
Thanks, man. That's real nice. Or I'm going to stroke out. So I made it, man. I made it through the podcast.
I'm proud of you, and that cup right there in front of you is actually filled with Pepto-Bismol.
Okay.
Take another? Yeah. Pink liquid gold. But anyway, a few updates about the podcast if you guys are joining in, and if you're listening on headphones right now, you probably hate us. A few technical problems I wanted to give you guys some updates. Are the setup that we have right now is a very stereo-esque split. So if you guys are listening to us on a TV or a computer, it sounds good. If you're listening to us on headphones, you might have noticed our audio. If I talk, it comes from one headphone. If Jason talks, comes from the other side of the headphone. So just know we are working on things, we are tweaking things, but we are listening to the feedback. We appreciate it, and we will change it and fix it as soon as we possibly can. So look out for that. So anyway, guys, if you guys want to find Krazy Jason, where can they find you at?
They can find me on YouTube at The Krazy Jason, Krazy with a K. And you can find me on Twitter, also Krazy Jason, Krazy with a K. And hit me up on Twitter, and that's how I usually communicate with people, is via Twitter.
Alrighty, if you guys want to find me, you can find me at the links below, as well as Jason, but you can find me on YouTube at The Flick Pick or John Flickster, or on Twitter at John Flickster. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode 2 of Flick Krazy. Join us next time. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you later.
Live long and prosper.